One of the hypotheses that comes out of the evolutionary psychology of aesthetics, and I'm particularly thinking of Ramachandran's work here and Semyazeki's work, is to do with why certain experiences make us feel good. And again, I'm particularly thinking about experiences to do with holism, or experiences which seem to be binding in some way, which seem to make an entirety out of what would otherwise be a series of disparate stimuli. Ramachandran, in a slightly tongue-in-cheek article, but I think he reports it quite well, talks about aesthetics, the aesthetics of visual art primarily, as having its origins within certain evolutionarily adaptive functions or facilities that we might have. And one of the ones he talks about is to do with pattern recognition. And he gives the example of, the evolutionary example, of being able to spot a tiger hiding in the undergrowth. He says that what we see, or what our ancestors would see, would be a broken pattern of bands of light and dark, yellows and blacks, partially obscured by undergrowth which is largely the same colour. Obviously, that's why it's camouflaged in the first place. And an ability to see the tiger hiding in the undergrowth would confer a distinct evolutionary advantage on the person who is able to recognise that. If you see the tiger, you can run away. So an ability to make those intuitive leaps, to be able to see, to recognise a pattern, even in that broken and partial form, should aid our survival, aid our ancestors' survival. And Ramachandran goes on to say that our ability to do that is rewarded, if you like, by feelings of pleasure. We should get feelings of pleasure or satisfaction or fulfillment by that recognition. For the same reasons that food, which historically has been good for us, has tasted good. It's the body's adaptive way of telling us that we're doing something healthy. Pleasure works really. And similarly with aesthetics, he says that our ability to recognise a pattern gives us a little buzz. Even now, even though we're not hiding from tigers generally anymore. But what we're generally doing is standing in art galleries, looking at artworks, which are only ever partial. Even the most photorealistic painting, for example, is, at the end of the day, blobs of paint on a two-dimensional surface, usually a completely different size to the original model, and maybe very, very abstract indeed. If you're looking at a Mondrian or a Picasso, or not a Mondrian. Anyway, if you're looking at a Picasso or something more recent, you may be responding to patterns which are quite far removed from a simple recognition of what a face looks like. In fact, Ramachandran will go on to say that the pattern doesn't have to be representative at all. He does cite, I think, Mondrian in this. Pictures like Broadway Boogie Woogie and some of those purely compositional pieces, which are fragments of primary colours. So in Mondrian's paintings, what you get is dabs of primary colour in broadly geometrical shapes spread across the painterly surface, not representative specifically of anything, but nevertheless they have an aesthetic integrity which Ramachandran would say exists because of our ability to recognise patterns regardless of content. We're seeing pieces of yellow here, another piece of yellow here, another piece of yellow here. We're recognising a consistency there which seems to imply salience and significance. There's no tiger hiding in the painting, but we get the sense that something is relevant. And our ability to recognise that gives us a pleasure, gives us a buzz, a little aha moment as this pleasurable recognition is rewarded in what we refer to as our aesthetic sense.